So I just say, it's 6 o'clock and we're gonna start the meeting, and, can I get a, motion to approve the minutes?
First, we need to do the citizen communication,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and there isn't any.
Yes,
So
there's no
it's
one here
easy.
for citizens communication, so to note that, okay. And, okay, so now, can I get someone to approve the minutes of September 11th, 2024?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And then we're going to turn to the high school portion of our meeting. Lucas, would you like to give a report?
Okay, regarding our library, any events? I don't think anything's changed regarding the library. A lot of new clubs are starting to start up now, and UIL events are starting to start going to competitions. Especially debate. I ended up joining debate this year, and it's actually really busy. But also, PSAT was today, and then we have a 4-day weekend. And I would have talked about the teen advisory group meeting that was yesterday, but I couldn't go because I didn't have transportation. But yeah.
I believe that Lucas and Jody both are members of our TAG. Or was
Yeah.
that the intro? Yeah. So it's the library teen advisory group. That's right.
Did we get any response from reaching out to the other schools?
I totally dropped the ball on that, so I will do that, I swear to God.
Okay, our next item is the Friends of the Library. And would you like to give your report?
Oh,
they don't have it?
She is not here.
Oh,
We don't
okay,
have a
and neither
representative.
is Kim. Okay. All right, next one is Jennifer, Director's
Okay,
report.
so the end of year figures are in, and they are included in the director's report, which is way at the back. And it's not bad. I mean, overall, we were up on our circulations. As you can see, the electronic ones really took off. So we are starting to see that shift towards electronic resources, but that doesn't mean that people don't still like their physical resources, so we're keeping those. We are at the beginning stages of phasing out DVDs. I think I mentioned that last time. But that doesn't mean we're not ordering them, we're just not ordering as many. Because I know that technology will be gone within the next 5 years or so. I know that people still hang on to stuff though, so we'll keep it as long as we see a need in the community for it. Library visits were on par with last year, almost to the letter. But our attendance at programs was slightly down, but not significantly. Our outreach numbers were up again. And if you remember, TR started last year and doubled our outreach numbers then, and then she raised them again. So well done, Tiara. We had our biggest event, which is LibCon, and thank you, Matt, for being there. Thank everybody who was there and volunteered. We had well over 2,000 people come to the library that day. Not one time did we have to call the police, so that was awesome. And everything went really smoothly. So I applaud Betty McDowell, who orchestrates the whole thing, but also the staff for keeping up with all of it, because it was a lot.
Do we know if it was more or less people than last year?
I think it was a little more. I think last year we had somewhere around 1,700 or 1,800 people. But I can definitely get you those numbers. While I'm on the subject of numbers, I have adjusted the numbers in the 5-year plan that you guys voted on. I went ahead and put in the end of year numbers, and that will go to council as one of your accomplishments this year. The other accomplishments I put on there were the art, the public art that you guys have been doing, and redoing the policies and redoing the student liaison application. So all of that will be reported to the city council.
I have a question. I've
Yeah.
never asked, how do we measure the physical visits to the library? Is there,
We have a door counter.
we have a door? Okay.
And we take whatever that number is and cut it in half, because it counts people coming in.
Going
and
in and
going
out.
Yeah.
I have a question about the costumes. I've been to other cosplay type events, and what they do is at the front door, they actually check out the guns to make sure that they're fake guns and not real guns. Do you guys do that too, or not really?
We don't, but it is in our rules. So it has to look obviously fake. No realistic looking weapons. So, yeah. That's one of the rules of even being able to participate, so. It's a good question, though.
Okay. Let's see. So now we're gonna move on to Tiara.
Well, it's a new fiscal year, so we've got finalized numbers from last year. Last month, I spent a lot of my energy on promoting LibraryCon and tying in a lot of my promotions to that. But now that LibraryCon is over, it's back to business as usual. We've been pretty fortunate. We've got a long-running partnership with Avance, which is a nonprofit organization that helps Hispanic mothers get more education and whatnot. So Carmen and I are going to be going over to River Oaks Elementary later this month to present. We've also been going to a lot of trunk retreats because it's that time of year. We went to one at Brook Hollow, and then we're also going to go to one at Paws. Paws has one every year. But yes, this fiscal year, I'm hoping to continue strong growth with outreach and marketing. I'm very interested in reaching out to more high schools, so I may be reaching out to you about that. And I am also interested in expanding the kinds of outreach we do, so maybe going to more senior centers, things like that. But yeah, things have been going well in that regard. And then I also sent out this guy. I did receive an email from Holly. Thank you, Holly. Do you guys have any feedback or any thoughts on the packet and what mascot you liked best?
I saw a lot of things I liked.
I do have some feedback, because I know we had mentioned the flying fish before. So looking at fish mascot costumes, usually they're like swordfish, sharks, catfish. So it'll be, well, I don't even think they have a flying one. So if we wanted to build wings on it, we'd have to do that ourselves. But otherwise, buying like a generic fish costume is going to be a little bit more difficult, because like they'll be like, why is a swordfish their mascot or something like that, which doesn't start with F. So the flying fish thing, I was kind of leaning like towards something that they could also have, like you could have like frogs visit, or fireflies or something like that. A ferret. I think firefly, frogs, and ferret are three really good ones.
I like ferret
I
finch and flamingo.
But I'm worried about the flying fish, only because of the flying part.
I agreed. I think you mentioned that the swim team has that as their mascot too, and I do think it would be better to avoid having the same.
Yeah.
I really liked the fainting goat. I think it kind of fits the library's ideology to me. Like, it's kind of funny, and like I don't love that it's just the adjective that starts with F, but it still has the alliteration. So that was my
Which one was
the
it?
fainting goat.
Oh, fainting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do feel like we could have those in the library since we've had alpacas.
Yeah, hey, I just bought a carpet cleaner.
Yeah, perfect.
Do they faint like?
Have you never seen them?
Well, I have, but like when they're scared.
Yeah, right.
So like my only concern with that would be that you got to scare them to get them to faint, which is funny, but kind of a little bit mean, because you're like, ah,
Yeah.
and you're inducing that.
But that would be
fainting
really
state.
great for the mascot, right? Like
It
the
would.
person who
It
can
would
just
be
follow
pretty
through all
cool,
the
because then you can bring goats in and.
I like the idea of a ferret too, because it's
Me
a
too.
pet quality animal that could be easily brought in, or my second vote would be fishing cat, because cats are very, very popular with young kids. And then flamingo too, because that's kind of tropical and fun.
Yeah, we talked about that. The flamingo is the pride.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Pflugerville pride.
I also liked the firefly. I like it because, it has the
it doesn't like the two Fs in it. It kind of gives the same vocal quality as flying fish. And also I thought that the example that was given of the firefly outfit was like, it seems like a very doable mascot.
That's a good one too.
The other thing with the fireflies, you can have like night events, kind of like the glowworm.
Yeah.
'Cause, so that would
That's
be
a
a
good
good thing
idea.
for any library nighttime events, because they provide their own light.
That's
So
a good idea,
Frog
too.
and the Firefly were my personal favorites too.
What is a fishing cat?
A fisher cat, I think is what it is. I'm not sure, I think it's a fisher cat, but it is a small wildcat, if I'm not mistaken. I'm totally wrong, probably. It's probably like a bird.
No, I think it is a wildcat, yeah.
It's a wildcat, okay, yeah. And we do have them in Texas.
Alright.
Yeah, that's the other thing, you know, if you get a local, something that's actually lives in Texas, I don't know if Texas has ferrets or not.
I don't think wild ferrets.
Yeah, I don't,
Are there any wild ferrets?
I don't know.
Well, we do have
Somewhere.
fireflies and frogs.
Yes, I like the firefly,
Yeah.
also for the,
What am I thinking of?
like the idea of like a name of like Flash, the firefly. It's kind of cute.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's good.
It
Sure
also
is.
coordinates with like the light bulb moment that
Yeah.
education and learning
Oh,
gives
that's a good
people.
point.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Don't we
Alright.
call them lightning bugs here though? Is that in my mind?
Sometimes,
Sometimes.
I guess it depends on who
I
you
think
ask.
everybody knows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
yeah,
really like that idea with the light. Like,
yeah, I do too.
He's full of ideas,
Hmm.
or they are full of ideas.
I love that. Well, did you guys have any ideas for first names? I heard a few mentioned, but
I mean, Flash is great.
I like
I
Flash.
do
Flash
too.
is fine.
I like Flash a lot too.
Flash can be male and female.
Mhm.
It's very
Right.
thematic.
I like that. Flash the firefly. Well, yeah, I like that. Growing on me. I can see it in my head. Yeah.
Since this is a discussion only item, we can bring it back to our next month
Okay.
for a vote.
Sounds good.
Y'all time to marinate over Flash.
Okay. Yeah.
I also like it because I love in June when the fireflies are
Yes.
out. Yeah. And you know, they mate for life, so then I always feel really bad if one is in my house blinking. So then I have to catch it and put it outside because it's looking for its
I
mate.
didn't know that either.
I didn't either.
That's, I'm probably wrong on that too, but that's what I heard. I didn't read it anywhere, I just heard.
Yeah,
it.
and I don't kill them either.
No.
Those I don't kick, no, I like them in my hand.
We used to catch them when I was a kid.
Yes,
In jars,
Yes.
and my dad would always make
Yes.
us release them.
yeah, we did too.
The lizards too.
That's not what I did when I was a kid. Like, we would smear them so that we could get the fluorescence.
Oh,
You're kidding.
I was a boy.
Yeah, you were bad.
Science.
Right.
Well, you could do those little glow sticks and little glow necklaces, you know.
Yeah.
those-
Yeah.
Yeah, kids can be a firefly for a day.
Very cute.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you guys for your input. Look forward to discussing further.
Okay, next up, about the legislation.
Okay, so there has not been a lot in the news or out there about the legislation, like there was last year. But I did go and look at what, is out there and it's basically dusting off what didn't pass last year. Including one, and if you look at these, I'm sorry?
No.
Okay. If you look at the legislation and then you compare it to legislation in other states, it's word for word. And some states have adopted this. They adopted it last year. So the thing that would affect us the most so far is prohibiting taxpayer funding to any entities that permit or promote sexually inappropriate content to minors and legislatively banning instruction on sexual orientation and gender ideology in schools and libraries. So the problem with that is they don't define it out. So it's the ambiguity of it could mean, and I'm not saying for sure this is what it would be, but it could mean that any government-funded library, and we are funded by municipal government tax dollars, would be considered under that umbrella, and so that we could not have any items that dealt with LGBTQIA or anything like that. And it could be taken to the extent that we couldn't even have it in the adult section because a child might get it. And I hear that all the time. Second thing is...
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And the part, I mean, what you're saying is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
So are they defining, going in more in depth and defining what the content?
They...
You have to decide, or are they giving you
because
titles
of
of
the
books and
I don't
authors?
know. I don't know.
Oh.
No, they have a list of books, but it changes every day.
Okay.
I think the ambiguity is there for a reason, and I think it's there because then it could be applied very broadly, and somebody could come in and say, I find this inappropriate, and I find this, whatever, and then you would have to remove it or face prison time and a fine.
Okay. If there's a complaint, is there a process to determine that the complaint is valid, or can somebody just say willy-nilly?
We have a process.
Okay.
They have not said whether or not they have a process yet, but we have one. However, the next thing that I'm going to read you is going to make our process completely obsolete. We wouldn't be able to use it.
One more quick question as you're going through these. I thought the filing hadn't opened for next session?
It hasn't. This is the GOP priorities.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
it's what you're expecting to
It's
come in
what
the next
I'm
legislative session?
expecting, yeah.
Understood.
They don't file, I think, until November.
I think it's
Yeah.
November, December.
But last year, there was a lot of talk early on. This year, I have not
Right,
seen it. But I
right.
did go to the GOP
Okay.
website, just so everybody in TV land knows. I'm not just
Yeah.
making this up. You can go
Right.
look at the Texas GOP.
Understood.
The second one is repealing affirmative defenses in Texas Penal Code 43.24 and 43.25 and redefining harmful materials to remove loopholes provided by the modified Miller test. Now, the Miller test is that test that was okayed by the Supreme Court that librarians have used since like the 80s to determine whether something has literary merit or if it's just exists to be obscene and offensive. So that's sort of our litmus test, I guess you would say. So to remove loopholes provided by the Miller test. So this means that anyone can complain about anything, and we don't have a way now of determining whether it actually is something that most people would find offensive. So
Sorry.
that would go.
That's saying remove the test
Yes.
altogether.
Yes.
Okay.
So that would no longer be there.
Well, not only that, they call it a loophole too,
Yeah.
right? So, they're.
Which right now is state law. Like
discounting
that's
the
the test. Yeah. So anyway,
Does it give a replacement definition for?
no, not yet. I mean, hopefully they'll have something, because when it is left open like that, then anybody can come in about anything. And we serve 30,000 people who just have cards, not to mention, I don't even know how many people came to I can tell you right now, I can look at it, came to the library last year. Physical visits was 170-ish, and visits to our catalog, so that's going into our electronic resources, was over 200,000. And I promise you, not two of those people have the same idea of what is obscene.
Right.
So that's the problem that we're facing, and Laura's completely right. They have not filed these yet, but this is on their website,
Right.
and it is what I actively had to go try and figure out what was going to be coming up in the next legislative session, because I do have the bill tracking thing where I have signed myself up to track bills with certain keywords in them, so I can try and keep up with everything that's going on. But they haven't been filed yet, so.
So has the city council considered how to protect the employees who work here, you and the employees?
The city,
Based on what they're saying the consequences may be?
the city council right now, they have somebody who goes and listens to the legislative stuff, but they can't really do anything right now because.
Right, I'm just saying, in my head.
They have a
I'm
legislative
a former HR person,
advisor,
so
I
I'm
wanna
thinking-
say, yeah.
When there's a complaint, there's should be a process. And based on what you said on the consequences could be, that puts everybody who works here at risk. So I feel like the city council should, in that case, develop something for your protection to give you some standards of what you can and cannot do. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and I think that's something that I am sure the city council is more than open to doing something like that. They very much support the library, and so does the
Yes.
administration of the city. I think that we, as a board, would need to also sit down and say, okay,
Yes.
we recommend that these steps be taken
Yes.
in order to
Yes.
both be compliant, but also protect
Right.
the community and the library, so.
Okay.
Do you know how libraries in states where this has passed, how they've handled it?
A lot of them have challenged it, like there's lawsuits going on right now, so right now they don't have to remove anything, but I can get a list of the states that have this enacted right now. I'm sorry, I thought about that today, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can get a list. A lot of them are, there's a lot of ACLU lawsuits being
Right.
filed and that sort of thing.
And I thought a lot of them from the news you sent us is Florida.
Florida's not gonna have a book left anyway if that
Well,
hurricane
I'm just
hits them.
saying from
Yeah.
that news thing that you sent out.
Yeah, I send the
Oh.
intellectual freedom.
Yes,
news,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And that's just aggregated stories
Florida.
about intellectual freedom, and all things intellectual freedom.
Yes.
Which goes way beyond censorship and
Right.
book banning, yeah. So, it is, gonna be an interesting year, again, I think.
Yes.
But we'll get through it like we have before. I don't know that these will pass. I mean, last year, I was like, I'm sure all of these are gonna pass, because I was very much in a worst-case scenario kind of frame of mind. But they may not even pass, so, you know.
Okay.
Thanks for keeping us ahead of the legislative curve.
Sure. I will be relying on you two very much next for advice.
Slightly related, but not specifically on topic. What was the resolution like a month or two ago that somebody wanted a book challenged or something like that?
Oh, yeah, she never came with the other book. So I'm assuming that, she read it and she
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm good with this. We did, the professional staff all reviewed the book. We read the reviews on it, and our youth librarian created what's called a book resume, and it just shows you all the reviews that you can go read about it and all of the awards that they've won and et cetera. So we put that together and I sent it to her and I explained to her, this was the decision that we came to, and you're welcome to come and talk to the library board if you want to pursue it further, and I did not hear back from her. So.
Good deal.
I assumed that after she read them, she was like, okay, it's all right.
Okay.
She was very nice too. She was not at all, I know that people see, because they're not gonna put somebody being nice on YouTube, but you're gonna put the person up there that's screaming. But most of the people that have come here, that they just want answers. And so we give them answers. So that's it. That's all I have for legislative update.
Jade, I saw that you emailed. Would you like to talk about your high school report?
We're not really doing anything for our library because we had like PSCT, so we couldn't really have anything new at the library. So yeah.
Okay. So next we'll move on to the survey. And we're going to discuss and consider action regarding the library surveys. So I saw that this survey came in through email, and I thought what we could do is just go item by item on it and let me know if you guys have any feedback on it.
Yeah, I think that it's really long.
Okay.
Um,
So just ask as a whole,
Yeah.
like what people have to say about it?
Yeah.
Okay. With the real survey, when you guys give it out, are you gonna take out the usage, visioning, satisfaction, like the little words in color? Because I thought that was
Yeah.
confusing to the people. And then also, to add to another thing, there was an item about the highest level of education. And I know that people will ask that like on job applications and stuff, and I can understand where it's relevant there. But how does that help you guys? Because I thought maybe that would be offensive or off-putting to people.
I think it's helpful because we do get resources for people who maybe need to get their high school diploma. We have that resource. We also subscribe to the text share databases, which are going to be primarily academic. So that's going to be people in college, et cetera. And we get a very big discount on that. But again, depending on how the legislature goes, that may be cut quite a bit. So if we have to start thinking about buying them individually, then yeah, it might be helpful.
Okay.
But I think we could make that an optional.
I liked everything on the first page, and then the rest of it, the demographic content is okay and will be helpful. The rest, these other 2 pages, no. It makes it too long.
Yeah.
And
it's too long.
what you're gonna do with the information when you compile it, you can do as much with what you have on the first page and the demographics, to me.
I agree a lot with Rosie. I also think that people are a lot less likely to answer these kind of fill-in-the-blank ones.
Uh-huh.
So they probably don't have as much use. Maybe if there's one that you find especially fruitful, maybe 1 or
Okay.
2 max, but having 5 things where you want someone to fill in like an actual answer with words, I think is expecting a lot.
Is there a way to turn the open-ended ones into like a list, a ranked list or something?
Yeah.
Give people options to choose from rather than just an open box.
Sure.
Yeah, because I think I would want to understand people's satisfaction with services, programs, and space, even though that's on the prior page. So maybe that makes some of these duplicative.
Yeah.
I think you'll get a lot more takers if you say that it's anonymous and that maybe instead of 10 minutes, maybe it takes like 2 or 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
It'll go a lot faster if we take out a lot of the open-ended ones.
Yeah.
You could also add just an open-ended one at the end that is not required, you know, anything else.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like, what else
Yeah.
would you like us to know?
Yes, they can write whatever they want to write about the library.
I'm just saying, we haven't had any naughtiness at all with our surveys.
You could even, in that space, list, you know, feel free to talk about programs or things you'd like to see, or like you could kind of guide that but not make it required.
Yeah, option.
Out of the 5 questions, I like 3 and 4 the best. On the first page, I think you could take out terrible and just leave it as poor.
Okay.
One, because you don't want to give negative impact of yourself to whoever's doing the thing, and poor and terrible both mean you need improvement
Yeah.
anyway. That would also allow you to equal distance the spaces, because my OCD is like the boxes are not the same space, so
Okay.
it's not visually pleasing to OCD people. And I don't know what IL is, like interlibrary loan, is that
interlibrary
between
loan,
other libraries? This library and the other library, or?
Interlibrary loan is a reciprocal borrowing program, so we belong to the Texas Navigator. No, they changed it from Navigator, didn't they? Anyway, we belong to the Texas one. So when somebody wants an item and we don't have it and we say we can borrow it for you, then we go through the interlibrary loan program, and it looks in Texas first, and then it goes out from there in sort of like an onion peel type thing. And whoever is willing to lend it and has it will ship it to us. And yeah.
That's cool.
I tend to think for like math reasons that I can't describe that if you take out terrible, that you should also take out excellent, because then it means that there's like excellent, good, neutral, and poor, and I feel like that is not like fair.
Well, it's not fair, but you don't want to say bad things about yourself, and you don't want to give a bad impression of people who are taking the survey of what you want them to think about.
I like respectfully would need to disagree, because I really do want to know if people think that our service on a particular issue is terrible and how we can
Can we say
address that
unfavorable
segment of
maybe?
it.
instead
Yeah, it
of-
could be a different word, but I
Yeah.
just mean, I think it needs to be a little bit more balanced. And I do want to know if someone's unhappy with something.
We could do just, I was gonna say, the fourth one, next to neutral, could be needs improvement, and then poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my suggestion is absolutely unfair to what you're exactly saying.
I think
That's to the
statistically,
benefit of the library.
it is better to have 5.
Yeah.
So, because then you're just not really getting much information if there's only 3 choices.
I do think it would be valuable to have an open-ended answer if someone does rank us unfavorable or poor, if they would be willing to elaborate on that, so we could get a little bit more information about that ranking.
I think we should take out terrible, because it looks like it's like we're expecting people to want to choose that category. And also, I've taken a lot of surveys where they say like 5 to 1, 5 being the best kind of thing, and doing it that way, and then they
Do
can
that
use
one.
their own categories.
I like that a lot. Then we don't have to worry about
the
words.
adjectives, yes. Okay.
And I agree with you also, Matt, that I think 3 is really valuable, and 4 is kind of like a general overarching question.
That's on page 2.
Beautiful. Like we were talking about if we were to keep any of these, or if any
Yeah.
of them we think still
You
have
said
value.
4 and which one?
3.
So what I can do is I'll create a draft survey in SurveyMonkey, and just not publish it yet, and send y'all the link, and you can take it and see it, what you like, what you don't like.
That sounds great.
Okay, so I guess we're all done for today according to the agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
A second. Oh, okay.
What is
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, very good feedback.